Hope you guys can hear me. So I'm gonna go over my Valtinsu EM-5 build here. You can see that it's a few things have been modified. Obviously modified, like the wheels, the fender, the number plate. But I'm gonna show you guys some of the things that you can't obviously see, except for the sticker here. So. Okay, let me just jump right into the battery part of it because this is the main driver that's able to push this thing. So I was able to hit, I think 73 miles per hour, but I still had some room left. I came to an intersection, so I had to stop. This feels like it can hit around 78 or so. I had another 4 or 5 miles per hour. It seemed like it was definitely hitting the field weakening. Okay, so. Changes. I swapped out the front wheels and the front and the rear. These are 12-inch supermotos from Midwest Mini Mods. What I had to do, however, was because these wheels were originally sold for Razors. Razors have the chain on the right side. This has it on the left, so I had to dismount this guy and I had to remount it the correct orientation. And then spacers, I have a bunch of varieties that I like a variety pack that I ordered from Amazon. So I just played with the spacing until I was able to center it. I kept the stock rear sprocket, stock disc. These are still the stock calipers and brakes, although I will be upgrading them soon. You see that I have the cover off. The reason why is because I am pushing this guy to like 24 kilowatts peak. So I need as much cooling as I can get. So that's why I have this side off. I don't have the other side off because, that's where the sprocket is, and I don't want to accidentally get my shoelace in there or, tear off my foot. Okay. Another thing, I did the front fender. The front fender here is from AliExpress. I think it's called like the new CRF50 front fender. What I did was I dropped it so I 3D printed some spacers here. So I dropped it by like 1.5 inches. And the reason why I did that is because, number one, I needed to gain some clearance for my aftermarket controller. And number two, it just sits way too high up. The neck here is a bit short. Ideally, maybe they should have added like another inch or so to give it a bit more battery space. I don't know why not. But that's what I had to deal with. So I dropped it about 1.5 inches, and it brings the fender closer to the front wheel, which in my opinion looks better. Although I will be lowering the overall bike of it so I can bring the wheel up maybe another 1.5 inches or so, maybe even 2 inches. I want to lower the stance a bit, and I want to extend get a longer swing arm installed. Okay, so that's the front fender, and then the front number plate. What I did here was I also ordered this from AliExpress. It goes on pretty straightforward. However, what I did do was I modified the front light here. The light here is different. This is an aftermarket. I essentially took off the original light housing, and I installed this projector. This projector has a cutoff. It has low beam, high beam. But one of the main things is it has a cutoff. And the reason why I want the cutoff is so I don't blind people when I'm like riding past them. That's one of the main gripes I had with some of these other lights that I had. It runs about, I think like $55-$60 for a set of two. It consumes about 60 watts. It's actually compatible from, I think 10 volt all the way, or maybe 12 volt all the way up to like 80 volts. What I did notice was that if I try to run it at 72 or a higher voltage, it consumes more power. It runs at like 80 watts as opposed to 60. So I installed the step down. It doesn't need a step down, but I installed it because it takes up less energy. That means less heat, longer lasting, yada yada. And so I had to take this front assembly off, and I had to 3D print a bracket to be able to adapt this guy. And I think it looks pretty good. I think I might modify the bracket to bring the light out a little bit more. I'm not sure yet. I kind of like it tucked in there like that. It looks cooler. You can see that you can see if you just take a look at this one here and then compare it to this one, another bike here, and there's another bike. This one's further out a little bit. This one's deeper set in. I kind of like how far in it's set. It makes it look a little more aggressive. So I have that modified. I have this modified. Let's see, and then let me show you guys the controller here. So the controller is a Votol EM150/2. It is 96 volt compatible. I think it's only rated for 150 amps, but the software is unlocked. And I had this guy handling 250 line amps on my other bike previous to this one, and had it peaked at like 350 amps. So this guy, even at 250 line amps, it was not getting hot. So these Votol controllers, they're very difficult to tune. However, you really get a great bang for your buck here. I've been using Votol controllers for a couple of years now, so I kind of know how to tune them. I'm not an expert at it, but these definitely give you the best performance. A lot of phase amps, and one of the main things is their software is unlocked. So what I mean with that is, like far drivers, for example, they have 72 volt rated controllers, but you can't put more than 72 volts on there. These, however, if they're rated at 72, I've even put 96 on them before. So if this is 96 volt rated, I might even be able to put a like a 30S controller. 108 volt. I mean a 108 volt battery. Sorry, not a controller. Yeah. So that's the controller right now. I have it. I have it set to 200 line amps with a peak of 280. Yeah, peak of 280, and then phase amps. I have it maxed out. I think it's probably pushing it around like 600. Yeah, probably around 600 or so. And then this bracket here is custom 3D printed. The reason why I had to do this was number one, I had to. This controller is deeper than the stock one, so I had to bring it out. I bring it out more, and that's actually one of the reasons why I had to drop this, because you can see that it's very little clearance between there, a few millimeters. So I had to bring it out, so I had room for the wires and such behind the controller and on the sides of it. Plus, it just makes it look a lot cleaner. You know, it looks. You know, I have to kind of modify this a little bit, but it looks stock right now with this adapter plate. Let me give you another angle of it. Yep. So that's the controller. And let me show you the battery. Oh, not yet. Here's the voltmeter. Right now, it's pretty much fully charged, 97.8. Max voltage is 100.8. I just took it out to practice some wheelies. The key here, it's a different one. I actually have to replace it because the original key, I'm not sure what happened. In between gutting this bike and installing some of this stuff, the original key stopped working. So now I have two different keys. I have this key here for the latch, and I have this key for the ignition. This is really annoying. I'll have to figure out a way to make it so that I don't need a key here to open this. Okay, so let me open this guy up. Give me a second. Alright, so here's where the magic kind of happens here. Sorry, I gotta move this around a bit. So you can see that the battery, I know it looks ugly. I have duct tape on here, but there's a really good reason why. When I build these batteries, I usually have a sheet of ABS on the sides here to cover this side and the other side. However, the fit was so tight, you can see here, like there's no room at all. I mean, I can't even stick a piece of paper in there anymore. I had to remove the ABS sheets, and I had to remove the silicone, because without doing that, this battery would not have fit in here. And I just had to put duct tape. And even then, this is a little bit of a squeeze. It's a little tight, but it's not, it's able to make it in, which is good. So that's why I have duct tape here. I know it's ugly, but it was very necessary in order for the battery to fit. I underestimated the stacking of all the material, and it kind of added another like a 2 millimeters or so. Yeah, so the battery is 88 volts, 30 amp hour, 200 amp discharge. It barely fit, and actually before this I had to, it was sitting up like this. What I had to do was I had to shave this section off here. There's like this ridge or this bump here where you can see I took off that it was interfering with closing the lid here. So this is quite literally the largest battery that can fit. I initially wanted to build it out up this way here to add a bit more range, but I couldn't do that either, because when I mocked up the battery, this lip here, and the diagonal distance, the longest distance on this battery, would not allow the battery to fit in here. This quite literally is the biggest battery I can fit. When I mocked it up, I couldn't maneuver it in here because of this guy here. I didn't want to have to shave this much more, or I didn't want to shave this at all. I generally want to keep the frame entirely intact when I build the battery around it. And plus, it wasn't going to give me that much more range. I was only going to be able to add another like 14 cells in here, and it would have probably given me more headache than I wanted anyway, because I have this huge thick bunch of wires and stuff here. It kind of gives me some room to be able to stuff some of the wires in here. So this is running off of a QS 10. Is it a QS 10? Yeah, QS 10. 200 amps. I mean, this is overkill for it, but the reason why I'm running a QS 10 is because I intend on upgrading this battery to a 300 amp discharge one, and this QS 10 will be able to handle it. So that's the battery. Yeah, you can see just how tight it is. I mean, there's no light at all whatsoever. But then the sides here, it does give me a few millimeters on each side. I think about, you can see there's about 3 or 4 millimeters on each side, which is great because I was able to run my tail light through here. Let me close this guy so it's not. What is this? Oh, I added that strap so I can pull the battery out in and out easily. Okay, so that's in. What else do I have here? I added a tail light, which also has the brake light function connected. I don't have turn signals because I don't think this light has. It does have turn signals, but I need to add a relay in order to do that, and I didn't want to do all that. So it has brake function and regular running lights. People are asking me how I'm able to reach the speeds I am and be able to run the power that I'm running on the stock motor. Sorry, let me just make sure that I'm not pinching anything here. Give me a second. Yeah, it's so tight in here that I have to make sure that there's nothing pinching. Nothing is okay. Yep. Okay. So a lot of people ask me, how am I achieving those speeds with the stock motor? Well, the stock motor looks like a variant of the QS 120 version 3. So this is a stock motor, and this is the QS motor here. It's very similar. Different casing. That's it. Even the phase wires are identical. So what I did was, even though I had this new QS1, and actually branded QS 120, I decided to see what I can do with the stock motor first. And I'm pleased to tell you that the stock motor can handle 24 kilowatts peak. I was doing like I was doing pulls for over 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and the motor was still just warm. It was not too hot, which is good. These motors are very robust. QS makes some of the best motors out there. Yeah, you know, for people who are upgrading this bike, who are buying the Soshin kit, yeah, those Soshin kits are cool, and it's the in thing right now, but it's not really necessary, as you can tell here. You know, I've built probably around, I probably had around 4 dozen bikes coming in and out of the garage. I always do my research in figuring out what motor comes with the bike to see how much potential that it has. I wasn't certain whether or not I was going to get this variation of the motor or the original variation. The original variation stock motor was this small motor I've never seen before. It didn't look all that robust. And then luckily I was able to get this geared version. So I'm sticking with this right now until this blows. And then maybe I'll swap it out for the QS. But in the meantime, I'm happy with it. I don't need to upgrade it, so all I did was upgrade the controller and the battery. Yeah, I was able to get 73. You know what? I can probably easily break 85 with this. I'm going to upgrade the battery to an 88 volt 300 amp discharge. This is currently an 88 volt 200 amp. So the upgraded battery that I'm gonna put in here, that thing will probably get me over like 85, maybe even up to like 90 miles an hour, maybe. Yeah. Stock shocks, stock front suspension. Although I will be upgrading those or swapping them out. I'm going to upgrade the front suspension to a 45/48 forks. These are 39/42. Handlebars, I think I might leave them the way it is. Although I wouldn't mind them to be a little wider. It's slightly too narrow. I'll be upgrading the rear caliper for sure. I I'm more heavy. I more instinctively grab the left lever more when I'm stopping than the right, just because it's a free hand. So I'm going to upgrade the rear caliper to a pit brake one. This is a single piston. I'll be upgrading it to a dual piston with probably maybe like 70% more pad area. It'll help me improve the braking. I do notice that I have to grab the brake lever quite hard in order to stop from high speed. On my other build, I don't have to. You can see that like I do a lot of designing myself, so I designed this custom caliper bracket to be able to utilize two calipers here. Reason why I need it on this because it's a hub motor and there's a lot more rotational inertia to stop. A lot of unsprung weight, and yeah, so that's why I did that. And I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna upgrade here to just a regular pit bike run. And if that still doesn't do it, then I'll probably upgrade the disc. The disc is a 190. I'll probably upgrade the disc to like a 200 or a 220. The front I'm going to leave stock. The front has a decent amount of pad surface area. It seems okay for now. Stock chain. Is this still the stock chain? This is a 420H that I have on here. Pretty sure. I have a 420H on here. I don't know if it comes with a 420H or just a regular 420, but that's what I have. Yep. That's the rear wheel. Yeah, so this is my Valtinsu EM-5 build. I still have a couple of things I want to do to it. I want to lower the overall stance of it, drop it by like another 1.5 or 2. Another swing arm that'll give me another 4-inch to the wheelbase. Maybe a shorter shock if I need to. The other swing arm has a shock mount that's a little further out, so it'll naturally drop it. But we'll see. I want to drop get some shorter forks to lower the front there, bring the overall stance down, and bring the front fender closer to the front wheel. And maybe a display. Since I do kind of like this bike, maybe I add a display. Although it's not entirely necessary. I usually don't run displays, but since I like this bike, maybe I'll make it. I'll make it like this here. Let me show you guys this one here. Look at the cockpit on this guy. This display is on a custom bracket. I designed the custom bracket to bring this display up to a certain point, so now it looks, stock. Yeah. So this is the EM-5. You have any questions? Leave it down in the comments, or send me a message on Facebook, or find a way to reach out to me.